So let's take a moment to talk about what it looks like for a Middle Eastern group of people to have dinner. So the people in the Middle East eat dinner at 11 o'clock at night or later. I think they eat like at 4 in the morning sometimes. They stay up all night smoking cigarettes, and they are loud, obnoxious, and they don't really have very good, they're like talking in thin air around each other, but they're not really listening to what the other person has to say. So they're like this. They're like, blah, 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 blah. Actually, it's more like blah, 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 blah. Always putting the other person down. They're always putting the other person down. And then they'll say something, they'll be like loud ass laughter of obnoxious. And then you as an American are going, that's not really funny. But then you awkwardly laugh with them because it's either energetically forced or you don't want to get caught that you're undercover. In your mind, you're going, this is the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Meanwhile, they're digging in their claws to get money out of you. And that's all they really care about is business and brand dealing. And they've always cared about it like this. They don't have emotions around family that are normal. They don't raise children that is normal. They don't talk to children like they're normal. They expect a lot out of their kids, but they never tell them how to behave like good people. Especially these elitists at the top. And then all their little cults, which would be their types of families with ownership of skyscrapers, are always trying to compete to tell everyone how great they are. And then they all live in their victimization when they come to America, as if we're the problem. Now we've got women like Kristen Cavallari out there, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about middle class, where now the Middle Eastern women are trying to come into the country and create fucking brainwashing tactics. These women are fucking clueless when it comes to fucking emotions. So your intelligence level may be like down here, and you think your emotional intelligence are up here, but that's because you are self-righteous and you're a know-it-all. They don't let other people live their own lives. They tell them how they're supposed to feel. See, this thing that Monavan does with these therapists and shit is like only listening to the surface level of shit and then goes around and pretends that you have that thing and then maneuvers in the room what she wants to happen, not what's actually going on. And then you're weak by not standing up in your self-awareness as an American, and you fall for the shit. It's called lie manifestation. So it's the most unbelievable thing to watch two Middle Eastern people communicate. And the fact that you are in awe at the communication, you should be kind of waking up to this disgustingness of a Middle Eastern talking to a Middle Eastern. Notice how Middle Easterns don't share their relationships with their husbands or wives. So why is Monavan showing photographs of Gary Vaynerchuk? Well, she says my love, but the girl at Starbucks is calling my mother my love. So that's the level of emotion that these people have for each other. It's very odd and very strange, but her ideology is that she wants to control him because then she can control you as the audience. Which in her mind, she thinks she's controlling the government. And I've let her believe that so that I could get more information out of her. Now, Kamala Harris is actually being ran around in a certain way around by these people because Obama and Biden keep giving away our power to them. It's very complicated. Very, very complicated, actually. Trump is very good at this game. Just to let everybody know. I've taught him a lot along this journey. And where we're going to tell you, what else is going to tell you about this Middle East stuff? It's just fucking boring. Imagine sitting there across from the dude from Saudi Arabia faking conversations. And then that's actually who comes out of Saudi Arabia. And now you're going to, like, watch Gary Vaynerchuk communicate with a dude from Saudi Arabia. All he was doing in that podcast, not Gary Vaynerchuk, the dude sitting across, was taking notes so that he could figure out ways to communicate the way Gary Vaynerchuk is communicating to the people of Saudi Arabia. So you think that I'm trying to take out Saudi Arabia? I'm trying to expose Saudi Arabia for how you treat each other, which essentially is taking you out. Because what's going to happen is that dude from Saudi Arabia is going to abuse you as his citizens, and then you're going to start another war because you think that's how you're supposed to behave, which means that you're not even in your own space of what life is all about, and you've done nothing for anyone else except for yourself, trying to figure out how you're going to make money. You are the shallowest, most selfish people we've ever seen in history. And then you're going to schmooze over some kid who's 24 years old, and then he's going to sell out America. Because they don't give a shit about the Constitution. They're all fucking liars. Understand the difference between actually caring about the Constitution and somebody who's pretending to care about the Constitution, who has an agenda to fuel for their future, which would literally be the end of the country if I and Donald Trump wouldn't have fought for Donald Trump's election. Understand what I just said. Pretending to care about the Constitution, pretending to be American, glorifying your homeland. Go fuck yourselves and your fucking If you start your conversation and bragging about your Persian or your Saudi Arabian or all that dumb shit, there is your red flag. That is not a label that is DEI. That's not woke culture. Labeling everything is the modern day way of existing, which is racist. I'm letting that weird bucktooth, what's that called? I forget it. GNARTH. I can't do it because my face doesn't sit like that, but she is annoying as fuck. And she's related to Mona Van. Dumb as shit too. The fact that you think what you did on that podcast with him was professional is fucking embarrassing. But because these people have money, they don't take accountability or responsibility for failures. So we're literally watching these people fail in front of your face, from Persia, from Palestine, from celebrity, but because they have this better than experience about themselves and think you're peasants, they're just using you. Understand that? Understand what I just said? You should be judging that shit. Gary Vee has been trained like a monkey to say shit to get you to bow down. That's his job. His job is to get you to bow down, and your job is to fight that shit. Your job is to be judgmental. Natural judgment of not vicious judgment, no, logic judgment from those of you who have a brain, to say that shit was garbage. Yeah, at this point with Gary Vee's career, you should look at him and say, can you not talk about something else? Like, seriously. And he even knows it too. Can't you talk about something else? And then he'll make an excuse, and then you'll actually fight with him about that, and then actually he'll get something of a real conversation. Not kindly say, well, you just say the same thing over and over again. And then he'll just say, well, people need to hear it over and over again. And that's the problem with podcasting, is you're all a bunch of pussies who ain't got nothing to fucking say. You all robot to robot to robot to robot to robot to robot, and then now nobody has a personality. Because we can't get away from the millions of people that follow Joe Rogan, who is now turned into a robot. Because the person sitting across from him is a fucking weird-ass person with nothing to fucking say. I mean, take a look at the Donald Trump episode and know that Joe Rogan finally had a human to talk to. Let me just sit there and laugh. Yeah. Well, that's not really going to work for us, is it, America? Not really sure what you're waiting on.